Observaciones de mi vida, victoria. Mi vida ya está escrita. Victoria. Pero sigo el mismo, nunca cambio, aunque tenga muchos títulos. Ahora muchos me dicen Sabor Latino. Te felicito, mi hermano, eres famoso. Gracias por todo el apoyo, es la respuesta. El mensaje: nunca te rindas en la vida. Y nunca me olvido de esa celda que hasta hoy tengo. Muchas pesadillas, 360, la vida da vuelta. Ahora inspiro familias en una escuela. 7 publicaciones, sueños cumplidos. Que represento, hip-hop positivo. Los dolores ahora son canciones. Más bendiciones, más observaciones y más versos. Ahora más escupo bendiciones. Ahora me despido. Victoria, porque me montan tanta.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Oh man, how's everyone doing out there? How's everyone feeling? How's those vibes going out there? How's your week going? Right? Oh man, like I always say, so excited to be here. So grateful for this just opportunity that the higher power gave me to do. And I'll tell you guys again, I'm just so grateful to be here with another learning moment episode. Unfortunately, guys, we're coming to the end. This is episode number. So get ready. We're going to wrap up this season 1, right? It's been so exciting, me being able to share so much information to you guys, so many episodes, so many great moments, so many learning moments, right? But before we get into that, again, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe, right? Hang in there a little longer. I'm being very hopeful that hopefully by next week, this weather is going to start to get so much better, right? So let's just hang in there, right? Let's just hang in there. And then hopefully we're not going to be complaining that it's going to be too hot now out there once that good weather comes around. So before I get started, to the new people checking in, what's going on here? New podcast. Who's this guy? So many podcasts out there. What is he about? What's the new thing with him? Well, before anything, again, thank you for joining us tonight in this learning moment episode number 12, where we're going to be talking about, self-care and why self-care is so important, right? But before I do that, a quick introduction for the ones that don't know me. My name is Robert Torres, stage name Sabor Latino, Spanish hip-hop artist and author from Jamaica, Queens, New York. Been in the music business for over 13 years. Do Spanish hip-hop, positive Spanish hip-hop. I've been fortunate enough to get recognized for my work, for being that positive hip-hop artist from Jamaica, Queens, that does Spanish hip-hop. So if you're interested in looking me up, you can just go to Google, enter hip-hop artist and author Sabor Latino, and you get a lot of information about me. There's also a Wikipedia article about me there, or a page where you can get in more detail information about who I am, right, and the accomplishments that I've done throughout my hard work in these 13 years I've been around. And you get to know a little more about me, like I said, right? In addition, I'm also an author. I've published 5 books so far. My recent publication just came out a couple of months ago, which is titled "You Are a Beautiful and Special Person No Matter What." And that publication is very interesting because that publication, I really talk about the value of self-esteem and how individuals can build their self-esteem, right? Just real quick, it's a book that really took me some time to write after collecting so much data, being also a counselor, being a hip-hop artist, social work. I did social work for over almost 10 years. Just gathering all that information, I really started to come to a conclusion that I have to, or how can I put together something that's going to help a lot of individuals with their self-esteem? So I was able to put it down, some ideas, right? Started writing it, eventually was able to complete it, publish it, and put it out. And just thank you for everyone's feedback. A lot of good reviews on Goodread. A lot of good positive stuff. Thank you for the messages. On that note, I also want to say thank you to the social workers for taking my book and using it in your groups with your students, classrooms. So I really appreciate all that love and support that the book is getting, and I'm just glad a lot of people are really understanding and appreciating that work, right? So yeah, that was my 5th publication. Once you look me up and you find some more information about me, you get to see the other titles of the books, which I also have an autobiography called My Life, Sabor Latino. My 2nd book is Greatest Poems and Songs, where I talk about, poems and inspirational poems, right? And I think I wrote like 5 albums of music for Latino youth that are interested in, learning how to write, right? They can use my examples of how I wrote that and get an idea of what it is to write, right? If you want to write a book or you want to write songs. So that's pretty much that. Then I put out 125 quotes gathered from my life's observations, which at the current moment for 2026, I've been using that publication, my 3rd one, which is full of quotes. So shout out to everyone out there that's been following me with those quotes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the love, for the likes. And I just figured I wanted to do that with the extension of the podcast, starting it off with the poems and quotes, because I really wanted to be more visual online. You guys probably the ones that have heard about me, probably seen me doing presentations, probably heard my music, probably brought my books, but never really had the opportunity to really have this conversation with Sabor Latino and really get down and get deep into thought and into conversation, really get to know me, right? So not only the 125 quotes gathered from my life's observations are out there, I'm putting them out there. I think I'm up to like 85, 90 now. We still got about 45 to go, whatever it is. I'll be continue to put those out. And then now adding to what I'm doing, again, trying to be more visual, trying to get my fan base a little bit closer to my fan base a little bit more. And I decided to do an extension of what I've been doing again with this podcast. And I think what's one of the most important things about this podcast for the newcomers is just that it's going to be honesty, it's going to be motivation, it's going to be learning moments, right? The ones that have been following, for the last 11 episodes is just we get deep into conversation. Really the importance of staying focused, the importance of really understanding what's going on here. Why is this podcast being done? And again, I also really want to specialize it for the youth, absolutely for everyone, but definitely for the youth, right? I remember me coming up, growing up in South Jamaica, Queens. I know how important it is to have role models. I know how important it is to have a great dad. I know how important it is to have good parents and come from a good family, right? And I know the importance of how a lot of students or young men are not as fortunate, I should say, right? Respectfully. And this is one of the other reasons why I really wanted to do this podcast. So not only an extension to my work of everything that I've done, but also how do we specifically concentrate on the youth, right? As you all know, we were all young once, and being young is definitely not an easy thing, especially now in 2026 with this social media world, right? Not only social media, but also just so many risky behaviors that a lot of teenagers are displaying right now, especially after the COVID situation. Thank God we moved on with that. But now this is what's going on with whether it's the phones, whether it's now this new policy going on in a lot of schools where students are not to bring their phones in, right? Because it was just getting to a point where they're not learning. They're spending so much time more on social media. Right. So just a lot of things that they're going through, I'm hoping and I'm very hopeful that a lot of them will be tuning in eventually. Right. And hopefully learning and trying to grasp the importance of being young and not wasting your time and trying to do productive things for your life and being mindful that once that grade goes on in that transcript, like I've mentioned, that's going to be the last time that you're going to see that grade. And that grade is going to be on there for the rest of your life. So this is all important time. You know what I mean? Trying to put yourself together. Once you leave that school building, you're on to considered an adult once you turn 18. And just your whole life changes, right? But I want you guys to know, and I'm telling you now on live, letting you guys know that you can always come in Sabor Latino's podcast, a learning moment with me. And I'm going to try to continue to do my best and work hard to give this motivational podcast to the world, as I know it's so highly needed. And again, I wish we had these kind of podcasts when I was coming up, right? But it's okay. God works in so many mysterious ways, but it's always in a good way to help others. So I'm really, again, so grateful and thankful to be doing this extension of my work. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of planning, because I really wanted to make sure that it stands out. I really wanted to make sure that we're not misleading the youth of tomorrow. I wanted to make sure, me being in the game for 13 years in the music business, even through my music all being positive hip hop, the same extension, I wanted to make sure that it makes sense. But more importantly, I wanted to make sure that it's impactful. Every time I see a youth, I see myself. And it's an honor for me to do this. I'll take full responsibility, being aware that words are powerful, being aware that words can be hurtful, being aware that we're here not to offend no one, with no intentions of that. We're here, or I'm here, for the intention of making you realize how beautiful and special you are as a person. Making you realize that when you're going through those challenges in your life, you could believe in Sabor Latino's podcast to receive some good inspiration, or inspirational words, inspirational lessons, right? And learning moments in life. Me being working for 33 years now, 10 years in social services almost, counseling and the youth development in so many areas that I've been working in. All that information, I've gathered it and I figured now is the right moment. God is telling me, Sabor Latino, you are the chosen one. I need you to make sure that this big responsibility you're taking on, you're motivating the youth, as you know, need to be motivated. So with all this being said, again, grateful. This is why I'm here. I hope you guys continue to tune in, right? Continue to tune in, because there's going to be a lot of great moments. Real quick, before we begin into the last segment or the last episode, self-care, I wanted to just touch base real quick on letting you guys know that this will be the last episode, right? You already know that. After this episode, my plan is all these same episodes that I did now, translate them and make it over in Spanish, making sure that the Latino community is also getting this information, right? So 10 episodes first season, then 10 episodes first season in Spanish. And then once I finish that, then I'll start working on season 2, the same concept, 10 and 10. And eventually, God willing, with God's support and God's inspiration and everyone's love and support, hoping to bring in some professionals, right? I know a lot of people that I'm connected to, whether they're young men, right, with visions, experienced professionals, social workers, business owners, right? News media, right? I'm in contact with a lot of people. So hopefully, as time goes by, we'll get this more in tune with the world. Eventually, I'll be giving out my email, because I really want to open this opportunity for someone that never gotten an opportunity. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that have great learning moments and great stories. But unfortunately, that's just the way the world works. Not everyone is going to get that opportunity, right? And I know what it is when you work so hard and no one wants to give you that opportunity. But don't worry about that. If that story is right, if it makes sense, if the timing is right, we'll make it happen one way or another, where I'll do my best to give you an opportunity so the world can hear your voice. All right. Before I start, I just want to say thank you to my fans, to my loyal Latino community for always supporting me, the local media news for always reaching out and asking how I'm doing, if I got any new projects coming out. You know what I mean? For everyone that has been in my life, right? Supporting me and mentoring me. I really appreciate you guys, right? And now is the moment. Now is the moment to have these learning moments and these learning lessons, right? And I'm ready. And again, extremely thankful for this opportunity. So, with all this being said, last episode, self-care. Wow. Before I even get into this segment, I just want you guys to think about self-care. What are some things that you do to have self-care? And then you might be saying to yourself, well, Sabor Latino, self-care on the podcast? Where are we going with this? Let me get into it. Give me a second. The point is, finances are important. The point is, supporting others is important. The point is, we do so much for others. The point is, we're professionals, many of us. But there's one area that I think that is very important, and that is self-care. We forget about ourselves. Self-care has to do with going to bed early. Self-care has to do with doing your best of getting involved in recreation activities, where I talk about my 5th book, You're a Beautiful and Special Person No Matter What. How do we find that innocence when we were younger? Begin to get involved in activities that used to make us so happy. But unfortunately, the way that life is, that we got to take on all these responsibilities with work, family, children, and everything else. That's all part of life, and it's beautiful. But what about yourself? Young man, young lady, sir, ma'am. Self-care is very, very important. I'll give you guys a learning moment. As soon as the year kicked off in 2026, and honesty is my best policy. I already had put down a month beforehand, Sabor Latino, another learning moment. Sabor Latino create some plans or goals, strategic goals or plans to kick off the new year for 2026. And the discipline and my self-care and dedication to what I do and what I love is why I've been around for 13 years in the music business and doing what I do. Because this is meaningful. It has to be meaningful. So the point of what I'm trying to make is, as soon as before the year ends, I'm already starting to plan what are the goals for 2026. And one of the goals was, getting back to my point, was self-care. Life has to be lived into a point of not necessarily emergency, but urgency. Think about that. At times, life has to be lived with a sense of urgency. We're not going to wait till tomorrow when things can be done today. So think about it. Again, what are some things that you can do for self-care? What are some things you can do for your children and your family for self-care? What are some things you can do with your friends and folks for self-care? Let's go back to episode number 1. I'm sorry, not episode number 1. That was the value of education. Episode number 2, the importance of creating goals. Think about it. Start creating some goals that you feel like is going to be part of your self-care. I also talk about it in my 5th book. Volunteering is also part of self-care. Giving back, it's part of self-care. I've said it already, journaling is part of self-care. Going to the gym is part of self-care. Seeing a therapist is part of self-care. Because in that situation, you have a professional that's listening to you, trying to find interventions of how they can help you. And as the time goes by, your self-esteem, right, starts to build. That situation, eventually you're getting by it, right, and you're moving on with your life, right? So again, the importance of self-care, right, being mindful of, once you find that activity that you're interested in, make sure you make it a responsibility, right, to get it done as much as you can. And again, that's also part of self-care. So one of the biggest things from this episode is I really want you to take a moment before you start thinking about, some things that you can do or that you're doing already for self-care to continue. I want you to just take a deep breath. Just take one deep breath and really start thinking about, wow, what are some things that I'm not doing to self-care? Self-care could be prevention again, right? Are you trying to make sure that no matter what goes on, twice a year, you're going to check on your doctor, your primary, right? You want to make sure that you're getting your checkups, right? That's all part of self-care, right? You used to love doing salsa classes. Well, we're not doing those anymore, right? So again, once we recognize what are we doing with that, get involved in those activities again, continue to do it, and that's all part of self-care. Or write down yourself a list of goals or a list in general of an outline of some things that you want to self-care throughout the rest of the year. And again, another learning moment, right? Do what I do every year before the year's over. Some things, what are some goals you can create for 2027? Part of your self-care, right? So again, once we start doing these things, it's just not learning them, right? But it's also practicing them. And I always said, and I'll keep saying it, it's just not learning something at a learning moment with Podcast with Sabor Latino, but how do we make it into a way of life? How do we make it into a way that no matter what's going on in our lives, we're going to make sure that is meaningful, is important, and we're going to continue to do it because that's part of our self-care. All right, guys. And again, be creative. If it takes some time, no need to rush. Just really start being mindful about the importance of self-care, right? Extended lifetime, healthier, younger looking, energetic, better sleep, right? Full with energy and motivation, right? All those things we need to really consider it when we're doing self-care. Journaling, right? Self-expression, right? Writing. Another thing that I like to do is another learning moment for me. I also like to write books, as you guys know. And that's also part of my self-care, especially my mental health, right? And again, one of the biggest things I like to do is just write it out, whatever I'm feeling. And if it's something that I can give to my public or publish it, whether it's in a book, in music, and now with the podcast, I'm definitely going to do it because I really know what it is for self-care. One of the things that I also believe in self-care is spending time alone by yourself, getting to really know yourself, getting really to love yourself, getting really to understand who you are. Self-care can also be part of what is your mission? What do you think the higher power has in store for you as your mission in life? And when you're doing things for love and not always for finances, it's also part of self-care. Because I could go on with this all day, every day. And I feel like I'm taking self-care of myself by a way of self-expression, right? By a way of giving positive information to the public, to the world, everyone tuning in, right? So again, just really taking a moment and thinking about what are some things that you can do to really self-care and take care of yourself. And it's okay, and it's not being selfish. It's just sometimes, again, we do so much for others that we forget about ourselves. So, with all this being said, I'm about to wrap this up. I think you guys kind of got the message. All I'm asking you is to just be a little bit creative with it. If you feel like you need a little bit of support, you can always download my 5th publication, You're a Beautiful and Special Person, and you'll learn so many different areas of that. And again, eventually down the road, one of my other plans was, I haven't said it, but I'll say it now that I'm in the topic, is probably going over all my projects, probably either by episodes or probably just by learning moments as I go, right? But eventually I'll get into the 5th book. I know a lot of people have been eager to know more about the book. And I know times are a little bit hard right now. And you know, sometimes to go spend, what is it? I have it on Amazon for like $9, $10, $12. That could be some lunch, right? And I really understand that. And that's another reason why I also want to give out some information where everything doesn't have to be about finances. It's just sometimes it has to be about finding the right resource to really help you and guide you for the things that you want to accomplish in this world, right? All right, guys, wrapping all this up. To all the new folks, to the ones that have been following me, again, after the season, I'll wrap it up. I'll be doing the same topics in Spanish. And then after that, God willing, I'll jump into season number 2. But during the meantime, continue to check in my YouTube channel. Continue to check in on social media. You'll be hearing me from doing other things, right? But real quick, being mindful, again, the value of education, the importance of creating goals, having discipline, being grateful for the small things in life, right? Don't ever forget where you come from. That is so huge. Please check that one out and really understand the value of that. Now that you're climbing that ladder into success, it's important to not forget where you come from. Exercise your talent. When you have some time off, work on your skills, work on your school if it's youth, work on how can I better myself in other areas, right? And I'll keep saying it. It's not always about what do you mean? The grade in school, but also the grade in life. Very, 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 very important. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed my first season. I really had a lot of fun doing this. I really had a lot of good experiences and feel so happy to be able to share so many things and so many learning moments from Sabor Latino. And I really look forward to season number 2. And again, there'll be another 10 episodes that I'll be doing. So real quick, wrapping it up real quick. Again, we're done with this season. We'll work on season number 2. We're going to be working on, after this, we're going to be working on season number 1 in Spanish, the 10 same topics for the Latino community. And then after that, I'll put a plan in place. What's going to be the next 10 episodes for season number 2 with a learning moment with Sabor Latino. In the meantime, guys, be safe out there. Stay strong, stay positive. Help your neighbors, help the ones that need the help, right? But more importantly, like I always ended, no matter what's going on in your life with challenges, no matter how life may seem like it's so difficult, no matter how many trials and tribulations and challenges you're going through at the moment, all I can tell you right now is always remember that you are a beautiful and special person, no matter what. Thank you, guys. Blessings.
Ambientes que ya ha pasado con todos los barrios, ya no hay cariño para nuestros niños. La escuela es importante, que ya ha pasado con todos los ambientes, que ya ha pasado con todos los barrios, ya no hay cariño para nuestros niños. Esto es complicado, pero tengo que hacerlo. Primero en línea, es el sabor latino. Es increíble lo que sigue pasando y mis palabras las siguen ignorando. La escuela nos sigue fallando y las maestras siguen en silencio. Hipocresía, todo es ganancia y en las guarderías siguen vendiendo drogas. Mundo frío, no existe conciencia, no dejes que te engañe la apariencia. Muchas corbatas y muchos trajes de vestir, mientras los niños tienen que sufrir. Hay dinero.